physically and mentally just in a good.
Hey, it could have, knowing you, that would have been the answer. I changed desks at KBL. Oh, I love it.
It's the little things, man.
You have recording privileges, and we're live already, and I've shared the screen.
Already recording, already shared, baby.
Look at us go.
Only took us halfway to a hundo before we finally got this shit down.
Are we at 50s today? 50?
This is the big half century mark.
Big half century, and eventually we'll do something with this thing. So,
yeah.
How's your week going?
So good.
Yeah?
So good.
Any speed bumps in the road?
None that like jar the car. There's always speed bumps once in a while, but no, man, we've had a good week. Signed a couple new people. Dave's working in the back. We actually signed his dream client.
I heard.
So he's kind of been floating on cloud 9, and just shit's just paying off, man. It's not a bad time to be at KBL. That is for sure.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. What's on the agenda for the weekend?
Sleeping, hopefully. No, no, it's my buddy's birthday, so I'll probably go drink a beer or 4 with him.
Yep.
And then not a ton. I have to finish, like, I got most of the stuff from the renovation like cleared out of here, but I have admittedly some minor work to do to finish that up. So nothing crazy, man. Just kind of hanging out. Looks like there might be some actual warm weather and sunshine in the forecast, so I'm excited to see what we can do with that.
Make sure you keep those whiskey bottles safe.
Those are in a secure location.
Okay, good. So it was funny. I actually went out to eat last night, like literally for the first time in a year. And I know it may not shock anybody. I know a lot of people have gone out. I know a lot of restaurants are open and things, but for me, it was a big deal. So we went to the Braylock here in Cazenovia, which, we were outside, so that kind of helped things. It's one of our favorite places, if not our favorite place, the place for us. And, it's just a continuing pushing myself to get back out into society, and I think that's what I wanted to kind of focus on today is, it's kind of interesting that I was one of those guys maybe in like October, November, oh, this thing's not a big, not to say that the pandemic's not a big deal. I would never say that, but I think mentally just kind of thinking yourself through the pandemic and how you're going to kind of re-enter society, because it got really easy for me, either standing up in the office or down here, depending on where I'm working for the day, to be like, yeah, I love being here by myself and working. And, you kind of have that human interaction that I don't get a lot. Like I'll have Siobhan and the kids, which is fine. And I got the dogs, which is different, but you've kind of had that. So do you feel as though has that kind of insulated you or made you feel better about re-entering society, or whatever we want to call it, by having people in the office?
Yeah, it's weird. I was just talking about it with Alex yesterday. I almost feel like I've been back to normal for months.
Yeah.
And part of that is just getting acclimated to what life has been for the last year, so it feels normal. But, for the most part, like getting your coffee in the morning, there's people like outdoor seating is starting up because, we have actually seen some sun in Binghamton, which has been cool. But, there's people sitting outside having a good day. Like everybody like observing all of the rules we have to observe still, but, there's people inside sitting down, and, there's a line going. So like things for me have felt relatively normal for a while. Mm-hmm. You get used to, having your mask on and, hitting that hand sanitizer 4 or 5 times a day. But, outside of that, like, not much has been different, especially the last couple of months as, even just tension has been easing a bit, people are less wound up. So I feel like I've been there, which is nice too, because it's, one of the benefits of outside of Dave and like the occasional meeting and stuff like that, you have your human interaction, but it's not like you're just around tons of people, right? Where you would feel anxious or you would feel awkward. So, and like just being around like different people, like whether it's in the hospitality industry or the restaurant industry, stuff like that, with vaccines kicking up more and more and more, um, I think I probably know more people that are vaccinated at this point than aren't.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it too, where it just feels like mentally, like I've been there.
Mm-hmm. Nice. What are you telling your clients, or what's been more importantly, not more importantly, but I'm more curious, I guess is the question. What are they feeling? Are they feeling is the engine starting to rev a little bit? We talk about, me, I'm a big fan of calling this new thing the Roaring 20s. I mean, I'm already starting to see it. I've been in it for probably 4 months now. I had that little lull in between Thanksgiving. We talked about this on the show a little bit. In between Thanksgiving and Christmas, like I had that little dip, and I was like, uh-oh, like this is before we had any plan for mass vaccination. We had any plan for reopening. We had any plan for anything. And I had that little dip, and I was like, uh-oh, like, I don't know if this is are we gonna go through an entire more year of this? And as soon as Christmas crested, and some of those, because it's so easy to have those conversations in between Thanksgiving and New Year. You get them all the time. Let's just wait until after the New Year. Let's just wait. But those people actually called back. And some of the projects that are coming online are coming on like they're going from 0 to 60 in about 2.3 seconds. Are you starting to feel things rev up with your clients?
110%.
Yeah.
We had, I can't remember what day it was. Like it was Tuesday or Wednesday last week. Like we were out on a meeting, handshake deal signed them. I had another client call us probably 10 minutes after we got back here saying, hey, remember like the upgraded stuff we've been talking about? Let's fucking go on that. Mm-hmm. And then got another contract in my inbox probably 2 hours after that.
Yeah.
So, not to humble brag, but like, it's just people are that barrier is not there anymore, where they're like, fuck, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what to plan for, anything like that. So that's been exciting. And then I think we've seen it probably more than your average person in your average industry. Cause like, I mean, if you're the kind of business that was going to hire us in the first place, you are a forward thinking, optimistic, aggressive, I'm going to go get it instead of waiting for it to come to me type of person. Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's been insane, man. Very exciting, a tiny bit overwhelming, but just so awesome.
It was funny. We were sitting at dinner last night. It just reminded me when you waved. We were sitting at dinner. The Braylock, right? It's like the outside, right in the middle of town. It's like right in the middle of the village. It's like the perfect spot to have dinner. They have that little courtyard outside, but it's right at the corner of East Lake Road and 13 and 20. So it's like right at the convergence of town. And I couldn't tell you how many times, like we're just sitting there. Taven was at football practice, and so it was just Paige, Siobhan, and I. We're just sitting there. We had like some nachos and then some salads, just a great time, glass of wine. And I couldn't tell you, because it was a gorgeous night last night. It was like 72 degrees, sun, little breeze. People were ripping up and down the road on motorcycles, like tops off. We had the top off the Jeep last night, just blaring tunes. Our friends are going by. I couldn't tell you how many times, probably like half a dozen times, people were going by, whether it be Paige's friends or people we knew, just people hanging out the windows, going by on bikes, like, yeah, like it's just this swell of energy that is about to have, or already, I shouldn't even say about to anymore. Like we might be in like the bottom of the first inning right now, but like it is on this 9-inning game. And I really feel as though, as it pertains to everything we always talk about, I'm a big proponent of speed. I always say speed are the number 1, 2, and 3 factors in what I do. And I'm just hearing it now. Like we've taken this time over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months to work with my clients to identify the white space. Now we're just going as hard as humanly possible within that white space. And I was talking to a client this morning, and he was like, actually, no, it was one of my co-packers about this project that I'm about ready to launch. And dude, you guys need to move at light speed before somebody else gets into this space. So we know we probably have a 7-month window that if we go as fast and as hard as we can to capture onto this energy that people are about ready to release, I think we're going to be able to do just some incredible, incredible things. That's just such a good feeling, you know?
Yeah, man. Like kind of how I broke it down for somebody earlier this week. Like it reminds me a lot of like, obviously I don't have kids, but I have a lot of my friends that do. And like it feels to me like when you have those days in the summer where it rains all day and the kids have been pent up in the house and they're just they want to get out and do stuff and run around and jump off things and break shit. That's where we're at right now. But instead of like 4-year-old kids, it's a bunch of adults, a lot of them with money in their pocket wanting to do things.
Yeah.
Which like that's why I was laughing when you said like people like hanging out just super pumped, like head out the window, like it happened here. It's the same thing here yesterday. Like we probably heard motorcycles every 10 minutes from 4 p.m. to 8, and it's awesome. But you think like those people are all out. Obviously there's a lot of economic hardship that has been created, but there's also a lot of stuff on the other side of things where there is more, especially at this exact time. There's a lot of people that have been working for the past year that got an extra $1,400 in their bank account that want to go out, and they're going to want to go do things and eat places and buy whatever, eat alcoholic popsicles this summer. I don't know, just spitballing. But stuff like that, and it's why, not to say I told you so, but the people that put in effort and put in work over the last 6 months to be ready for right now, they're gonna have a lot of fun this summer.
Think about, so what was 6 months ago from today? Go take us back for a minute. So that would be what?
Jeez, dude, don't make me do it. September.
So you and I were talking at the end of September. This is what's going to be so much fun about once you and I get our stuff together and hire an intern and to go back and splice these things together and be like, hey, what were Adam and I talking about 6 months ago? I guarantee you and I were talking about, it's about to get, because think about it, we're like a little bit before Halloween. Kids were still in school 6 months ago, but we kind of knew like this, whatever, second, third, I can't stand these terms, like second wave was coming or whatever it was. Like we all knew that we were all going to be shut in for the next 4 months. And I guarantee you, I'm not going to say verbatim what I said back then, but I guarantee you and I were talking about, we're about to be locked back in here for another 4 or 5 months. You can now take some of that time turning off Netflix and figuring out either what that new side hustle is going to be, or take that 20% and figure out what the next iteration of your business is going to look like. Like, I bet you're scrolling on YouTube right now, are you?
Matter of fact, I am. Yes.
Oh, I love it. I knew that's what you're doing. We got to go back and clip that and figure out exactly what.
Like, no bullshit. That's my screen right now. Like, as you're talking.
No doubt. Oh, that's so funny. I think I'm wearing the same hoodie. That's sad. I have so many cool hoodies upstairs. I wear this stupid hoodie. No, but no, you and I don't say we told you so on the show, but sometimes we say it, we kind of rib people encouragingly. I think it's a fair way to do it.
Yep.
Say, if you did put in that work for the 6 months, whatever tchotchke you're going to sell on the side, whatever side hustle you're going to have, whatever you're going to implement, whatever delivery service you're going to implement for your store or retail or whatever it is, now is the time that you would have been turning and burning clients. I absolutely 100% guarantee it. So what did we say? Did you find something?
The title of our episode, 6 months to the day, is literally "Hope Isn't a Strategy. You have to go get it."
I love it. Oh my God, I love it.
It's true though, and we talk a lot that it's easier for people like me and you to stay optimistic and to stay energized throughout this, because it's just naturally just kind of who we are as humans, and B, our day to day wasn't overly affected relatively to anybody else, right? So, take that into consideration, but at the same time, like, all this did for a lot of people that had to go digital or were pushed off a cliff, to borrow your term, that's just a glimpse into the future, man. Like, it's, shopping on like e-commerce. Like, if you got smacked in the face because you didn't have an e-commerce platform, like, fuck you. That's your, like, if you, like, that's like the most bare minimum thing to be prepared for in 2020. And if it hit you that hard, it's because that you didn't innovate and you didn't do it. And not that you ever enjoy seeing somebody fail or have their livelihood affected. But like, another show that we did close to 6 months ago is literally called The Burden of Innovation, where, like, this is what we signed up for. You know what I mean? Like, if you said, I'm only going to work in carbonated alcoholic RTDs, you'd be out of business soon. Right? You wouldn't have, I'm not going to give away any of your secrets, but you wouldn't have half the people that you have right now. Right? And would it have been easier for you to have one templated system where you could literally run people through the same playbook over and over and over again? Yep. Would have been a lot easier. Would have required a lot less thinking. It would have required, a lot less stress, a lot less learning, a lot less phone calls with French people that don't speak English, all of it. But, not only do you want to continue to grow, you want to continue to stay alive in business. And like, that's the kind of shit it takes. And I think you saw it where, rather than kind of slowly feeling the effect of that, all the pandemic did was just put it all right up to the front. You know what I mean? If you didn't have, like, if you think about it, like, pre-COVID, there were restaurants that didn't have websites with menus on.
Right.
Like, think about that. Right? That's crazy that you would get to 2020 and not have a website with your menu. Like, what are we doing?
Or a Facebook page or anything.
And like, that's just, to me, like, that's the biggest thing. And it's why I don't ever complain about anything that happens here. I ask for all of this. Like, you have more client headaches today? Sure. Why? Because we have twice as many as we had 4 years ago.
Exactly.
You should hope that you have more headaches. You should hope that you have more to think about, And I think that this is just a big thing that showed that. And like, God willing, it's not going to be another global pandemic, but there's going to be other things that create issues if you choose not to innovate and not to grow and not to adapt.
Yep. I'm going to tell a proud dad story, and then I'm going to ask you a question about so 6 months from now is going to be the end of September 2021. So I'm going to tell a story, and then I want to ask you a question about September 2021. So back at the end of November, we still didn't have sports. We still didn't have a lot of stuff like in schools and things. So let me go back forwards and then bring it to the present. So Taven came to me and he said, Dad, it looks like football is going to be in the end of March. Like, that's when they moved kind of the fall school schedule, the fall sports schedule. And they said, okay, we're going to do winter. Then they're going to call it like fall 2, I guess is what they call it. Like, there was a fall 1, like cross country and stuff like that. And then there's going to be like a fall 2, which was like football and some other high contact sports. And then they're going to do the spring. So it's going to go winter, fall, spring for this year, which has been actually a lot of fun. So Taven came to me and at the end of November, he goes, Dad, I really want to get into shape for football. I really want to be in the best shape of my life heading into football. I want to try out for a couple of different positions. And I think we talked about this maybe a little bit before. And
I made fun of him for saying best shape of his life at 14.
Yeah. So, and he'll be embarrassed if he ever hears this. I'm sure he won't, but he goes, Dad, I want to join the gym. Will you go with me? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. That'd be a great father-son thing. And we get out of the house 2-3 nights a week. And it's been great. So he has been doing that. He's been working out religiously. He's not a huge basketball fan like I am. Like I played basketball in high school just to get in shape for baseball. So he played basketball just to get in shape for football. But he's been going to the gym. And then on top of that, he's been super, super religious about his eating. So he's like measuring everything and like keeping track of macros and keeping track of carbs. He's keeping track of like all of that stuff. And sure enough, he's in the best shape of his life. So he went literally from basketball a week and a half ago on a Friday to they started football like the Monday after Friday. So we have about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks worth of football practice. And he goes, Dad, I asked him, because I'm interested. I said, what position are you going out for? And the kid's got great hands. He's been blessed with just great shortstop hands, and he's going to play shortstop this spring too. So I naturally thought he'd play like a wideout, like a wide receiver. So the coach, he's been playing wide receiver, he's playing strong safety, and then the coach comes to him and says, hey, I want to see you throw a football. So he goes, okay. So he's been rotating in with the quarterbacks for the last week and a half. So he comes in, he gets in the Jeep Monday night, I think it was. He goes, Dad. I go, what? He goes, in practice, they had me line up with first team offense quarterback. And I go, so what does that mean? Because we have our first game tomorrow. I go, T, what does that mean? He goes, well, I got subbed out a few times, but he said, but I think it means I'm going to start quarterback. I go, all right. So when's the last practice before the game? He goes, Thursday night. Thursday night's the last practice. I said, okay. So it was the last night to play offense before the game. He gets in the Jeep last night. I go, all right, T, what's going on? He goes, I started with the first team offense tonight. I go, I said, this is what you wanted, right? And we kind of had that moment last night. And I looked at him and I'm like, and I took a picture this morning. He got to wear his jersey to school for the first time in 18 months, but about a year since last year. It was just a super, and I took a picture of him this morning begrudgingly because he hates his picture taken. So I took that picture this morning and I was just, it was just really cool but as it pertains to what we talk about all the time, he said it this week. He goes, Dad, did you know that it takes 13 days to form a habit to do something? Because he's been reading a lot. And I'm like, that's really interesting. So as it translates to everything that we talk about, just post on LinkedIn for 13 straight days, post on Facebook for 13 straight days, send 20 DMs for 13 straight days, send 20 prospecting emails for 13 straight days. And it's really, really going to change your narrative and change your business. So long story, thank you, indulging me, proud dad moment. Question is, it's now September 26th, 2021. If you were starting something today, or if you had to give the advice to a client today, what would you tell them to do for the next 13 days that would be the most effective thing for them to grow their business in 2021?
Document and share every single thing you do. It's probably 2/3 of the battle in terms of actually marketing yourself or your business and growing it. Just showing people, letting them get to know you, get to see what you do, get to see how you do it. Mm-hmm. If you did that every day for 13 days, I think you'd be fucking astonished. Mm-hmm. And not enough people realize that, and there's a huge light bulb that went on with one of the people that we signed this week. I'm like, cause like they're talking about, banner ad placement and media buying and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm just like, everybody know, I'm not going to say it yet because it's not like official, but like everybody, I told you about it. Everybody knows who you are. Everybody knows what you do and what you sell pretty much across the globe, right? I don't think you need to do that.
Right.
What you need to do is think of stuff that is like unique to here. What kind of, photos and videos can we share for free, by the way, with thousands of people that are special here? And it didn't click yet. And then I'm like, do you realize how cool your day-to-day operations in this building are to literally 99% of people? Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, we talk about that all the time. It's super cool. We're one of the only shops that has X, Y, and Z. I'm like, perfect.
Mhm.
Like, oh, actually, yeah, he's the youngest ever. I'm like, exactly. And I'm like, if we take that and then we put it here, then it's over. You know what I mean? You're taking your word of mouth advertising and you're putting it on steroids. And it's literally something as simple as, I mean, I like to oversimplify it sometimes, but it's literally just documenting it.
Yeah.
Just photos and videos there. Like, heaven forbid you hire some really talented people to make it look extra nice. But yeah, that's literally it, man. And it's the other beautiful thing that we tell people is that it's instant feedback.
Yeah.
When you do a good job, they'll let you know. When you half-ass it and do a meh job, they'll let you know.
Mhm.
And it's just your job to pay attention and to adjust accordingly.
Mhm. What do you think the world's going to look like in 6 months? End of September of this year. Play Nostradamus for a minute. What do you think this thing looks like?
I think that you're going to have a fuckload of people posting about how this was the greatest summer of all time.
Yeah.
I don't think the Roaring 20s shit is hyperbole, man. I really don't.
Mhm.
You know, you gotta remember, like all this is artificially done. Like, the economy wasn't exactly hurting before all this last year. You know, we
Right.
were in decent shape. And the fact that, you know, God willing, we are coming out of it right as the weather is breaking, you know, in our lovely temperate climate here in upstate New York, you know, as well as I do, that alone is a huge economic driver.
Yeah.
Just the mere fact that you get out of cold, windy, rainy, snowy season and people have naturally been cooped up, you know, whether it's required by the government or not in a lot of cases. So I think when you add in all of that, you know, you add in, you know, a lot of people that did work remotely, you know, paychecks were still there, disposable income still there. A lot of things, I think the old song, you don't know what you got till it's gone. A lot of the things that we maybe were able to do 2 summers ago that we weren't, I think that they're going to have a lot higher value. So I just literally think that this is literally the kickoff to Roaring 20s 2.0. I could not agree more with that sentiment, man. And like, you're literally already seeing it. Like, we had Monday, I don't know about up in Kaz, but it was super nice here on Monday.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
Super nice here on Monday. To the point where, like, I was talking with Dave and I'm like, it is too nice to not be day drinking outside right now. So we walked to lunch at one of our lovely local establishments that had outdoor seating, and you couldn't find a table on a Monday afternoon. And I'm like, people are just craving this like they never have before.
Yep.
So, like, I don't know, man. I just think that, and then obviously right from there, you go right into holiday season. So, like, we're already thinking about holiday season for some of our people. I just 110% believe like this is going to be a legendary year and a legendary summer for a lot of people.
So how does that translate to, because I've been digging, I think these stimmy memes have been some of the funniest things. I know the Bernie Sanders thing was hilarious for a while, you know, for about 2-3, that probably had a 2-3 day thing. I think the stimmy memes have been hilarious. The funniest one I've seen. I've been trying to look for. It's the Kid Rock one. Have you seen that one?
I don't think so.
Oh my God! Let me find it real quick. When that Kid Rock on the beach, when that stimmy hits.
Yeah, 100% though.
That is what we're all feeling right now. You know, I don't know. I'm a huge, as I've documented on this show, I'm a huge WWE fan, and it's just that feeling of, you know, Vince McMahon walking down the ramp. It's just that walk, you know, that everybody's feeling right now. I guess the question is, I mean, how can you? And I couldn't agree with you more in terms of documenting the process. You know, don't create the content that you think people want to see. Just document the content, just document the work that you're already doing, and you'll attract the tribe that you want to attract, right? You know, we talk about it all the time. So as things do ramp up and as things really start to flourish, you know, what sort of content are you coaching up your current clients with in terms of documenting how we're ramping up back up this kind of this mountain, hopefully hopefully to past where we were pre-pandemic, you know, because you're right. The economy as a whole, I wouldn't call it white hot, but it was certainly red hot, you know, before this. How are you kind of coaching up your clients to kind of document what they're doing on the way back up the hill?
The biggest thing that we're telling people is basically kind of setting the stage like we just did on what spring and summer 2021 are likely going to look like. And then from there, it's how do we make ourselves as big a part of that as possible? You know what I mean? So like, look at what people are going to be doing anyway, and then just be there.
Mm-hmm.
So that, you know, and realistically, we're going to leverage the connections that we've continued to make with people throughout, you know, the last year. Like we have our bar and restaurant locally that we work with. And we had like kind of like a holy shit moment last week where all organic with them, no paid ads, no nothing, all organic. And we jumped from, I think, just under 5,000 people, or so like it was probably just under 7,000 people between Facebook and Instagram at the beginning of this to just over 10 now today. And so like what you see is that's super, what does that tell us, right? It tells us that whatever we did during the pandemic, the ways that we adjusted, it fucking resonated with people.
Yeah.
Because now more than ever, you're not following or liking a business on social media unless you're really into what they're saying and you don't want to miss it.
Yep.
2, so that's great because it shows we hit the mark. And like, I think our numbers would reflect that as well. What else it shows you is now we literally have a 40% bigger base of people that continue to talk to in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so that's 40% more people that are going to see our outdoor cafe seating and whatever specials we come up with there. And you know what I mean? So it's all, everything just builds on the next thing. Mm-hmm. So the same way that we said, we showed people what we were doing during COVID, rather than sending them a bullshit email saying, hey, here's how we're responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. Employees are working remotely, encouraged to wash their hands. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
And
yeah, great. You and everybody else. By the way, how'd you get my email? I've never bought anything from you in my life. But so now it's just doing the same thing, but you know, like I got to give a shout out to my man, Alex at Strange Brew, because he hit, you talk about stimmy memes. I saw this post and I just spit out my coffee because I thought it was one of the funnier things I've ever seen. Right. But it's like, that's just funny. And it shows that like, hey, we're people just like you. We're under like, we're feeling the same shit that you're feeling. And like, go over there tomorrow morning and you ask me how people would respond to how they do things. They'll be packed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the answer. There's no secret sauce. There's no secret formula. There's no hacking the algorithm to get in front of more people. It's just be a genuine person and create genuine connection. That's it.
So what has it been about that restaurant? Like literally, what has the storytelling been like during the pandemic that leads you to believe that they've had a 40% increase on Facebook and Instagram?
Well, we don't have to believe it. It's there.
Well,
but,
right.
So what generated it?
Yeah.
Our entire content changed.
Yeah.
You know, this was a place that, you know, it's kind of like your all American. He describes it in the past as fine dining on a bun. Like this dude is a fucking badass chef. Came from the highest of high-end restaurants that we have in Binghamton, where he was there for a little under a decade, I think. So he's got chops. Like this isn't stuff coming from a freezer bag. Like your French fries were whole potatoes this morning, like that kind of level, right? So that's always what our marketing was about, of just the literally world-class talent that goes into that burger that you're getting for lunch, right? And to his credit, he didn't let ego get the best of him. We pivoted from that and like, hey, here's why this burger is worth $16 to being one of the first places locally to put together an economically priced family box that could feed 4 to 6 people for $30.
Yeah.
Because that's what the community and the audience and people needed.
Yep.
And we got to the point where, like, and then part of it was exacerbated by how tough it was to get product and supplies in the early months of COVID, but he'd sell out of shit by 7:15. You know, I have a photo of him in the kitchen by the rack. There's this rack where all the buns go.
Yeah.
Taller than me, right? Like empty. We got to a point where if you called them and said, "Hey, can I get a burger?" There's like, you can get it in a lettuce wrap because we're out of buns, dude. And just tearing down that wall and admitting, like, hey guys, we don't fucking know either.
Yeah.
We're going day to day. Like, we'll know what we have to work with tomorrow by like 10. You guys will know by like 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we weren't worried about, you know, oh no, they're going to think that like we're not professional or we're not good enough to have supplies. We know that everybody's fucked up right now.
Yep.
Right. And that level of humility and, again, just being a human going through the same shit that you guys are was next level. You know, I have friends that would, because like obviously a lot of our close friends and even just most people in general now know who we work with. So like people would text me, "Hey, can you put this order in for me?" And I'm like, no. You know, like I'd get screenshots of people that like had called 114 times, but it's busy. And I'm like, sorry, bro.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. But you said it yourself. It's humility and humanity. Like if you want to, use your term, boil it down to its simplest terms. Like if you want to translate with people in terms of people buying from people, people don't buy steaks. People don't buy pizzas. They buy from people. Yes, I understand that you're transacting, then on your credit card statement it says a 12-inch pie for $14. I get that. But why? Why are you buying from them? It's when we were at dinner last night, we had the owner of the Braylock, which is it's one of our favorite places. We sat down, or no, even before we sat down, hang on. We pulled up. So over to the right, there's like little parking off the street. So, Siobhan, we've been ripping around all afternoon with the Jeep with the top off and blaring music. It just felt great last night. Just like you're saying, you hear motorcycles every 10 seconds. That's all we did yesterday afternoon, the minute she got home. And we pull up with Paige in the back. We stop and you kind of enter in through the side, through the side courtyard. And like there's steps up to the restaurant, like the interior restaurant. We're like, no way, we're not gonna sit inside. It's too beautiful out. And there's the owner. Her name's Val. There's the owner of the restaurant sitting up having a glass of wine herself. It's like 5:30 in the evening, and she's like, and we saw her and she smiled, and of course we had our masks on. She couldn't see us, but she's like, it's really good to see you guys. So we sit down, take our masks off. So there's like the host. Like the host comes over and he fills the wine glasses, and it was just such a nice moment because he stopped for a minute. He put our menus down, and he like lightly put his hands like on our shoulders, like he was standing like in between Siobhan and I. He's like, "It is so good to see you guys again." And I just was like, that's exactly what you want to hear when you go to a place or you go back to a place for the first time. Is it's so good to see you guys back again, And of course, I tagged them on Facebook, and Siobhan tagged them on Facebook and Instagram, and they're just super appreciative. But they always follow up when somebody tags them on a social media platform. And I think I'm paraphrasing, but with Val's husband Jimmy, one of my favorite guys, he wrote on Siobhan's page. He's like, basically, you could have chosen anywhere to be, and you chose to spend time with us. Like humility and humanity. Like you could have gone anywhere. There's a Myers Creek is here now at the former Empire. They're crushing it. We have the Brewster, we have the Lincoln, we have all of these great restaurants and we chose to go there last night and spend $100. It's because of those small touches, because of that personal feeling and that personal connection we have with, hey, we feel as though we can spend $100 on dinner tonight. Which group do we want to give that $100 to? That's why we went there, you know?
Well, I think that, I mean, that alone is like just a great case study of, that's why I tell people, like, your marketing should be like, for them, it should be nothing but creating that feeling every time somebody sees Val and Jimmy there. I'm sure the food's great. I'm sure the ambiance is phenomenal. I'm sure it is wonderful. But that's what leads to long-term success.
Yeah.
And I think I saw Siobhan posted last night. It wasn't, oh my God, the food is so great at the Braylock, this, that, and the other thing. She literally wrote, it's been an entire year. Thank you to Val and Jimmy for amazing food and Kim for fantastic service. Life feels so normal again. Val, Jimmy, and Kim, right? Yeah. It's not the Braylock. It's not the fresh shrimp, or I don't know what they have there. Yeah. Fuck that stuff. Like, that's extra, sure. Like, but like, that's what we tell people, like, your marketing needs to be. Mm-hmm. Right? You have the freshest ingredients, great. So does everybody else. You have outdoor seating, great. So does everybody else. You have handmade cocktail, great. So does everybody else. You know what I mean? Nobody else has Val and Jimmy though. Nobody. One of one, right? So like, that's where people that understand that, and they're like, hey, I'm going to take the same amount of time to build a relationship with the 4,000 people that follow us on social media that I have with Ben, Siobhan, Riley, that place is going to fucking dominate. Mm-hmm. End of story.
Yep. No, it is. And that's why they do such a good job. And that's why they're always so busy. I just, so let's pull it back. Let's do a final question here. The question is, it's the same question I always ask. And I'm going to as long as you and I do this, I don't care if we do this for the rest of our lives, by the way. I love doing this. It's just a good way to document everything. It practices what we always preach, right? Even if we never, ever do anything about this with this show ever again, I want to keep doing it because it shows that we practice what we preach. We document everything that we go through. Yeah, we have to hide some of the, the story, the names and the stories and some things, but it's all the same stuff. It's all the same stuff. So I rolled out of bed this morning and I thought to myself, if I wanted to start my own business, if I wanted to start my own side hustle, if I wanted to grow my business, if I wanted to pivot my business, if I want to be better in 6 months, if I want to be better when I get pushed off a cliff again with the next pandemic, if, always if, right? What is the best piece of advice? I'm going to give my answer after I hear yours. What is the best piece of advice? I know once you start, it's the document and the distributing of the content. But if somebody's starting from scratch today, what is that advice?
So full disclosure, my cousin just texted me that the 49ers traded for the 3rd overall pick, which I'm assuming is going to be my quarterback of the future. So I didn't hear a word you just said. So if you want to repeat that.
Who do you take with the third? Who do you take with the 3rd pick, by the way?
I think probably Justin Fields, quarterback out of Ohio State. I think Zach Wilson's going to go number 2 to the Jets.
Yeah. And then Lawrence goes number 1 to the Jags.
I mean, if they want to let Lawrence go 3, that's fine. But I think Justin Fields is a monster.
No, the question was, I'll condense it this time. No, I appreciate your candidness. It's the same question we always ask. You fall out of bed this morning and you say, I don't like where I'm heading in my current job. I want to start a side hustle. I want to start a business. I want to do all of the things because I want to participate. I know I finally listened to Adam and Ben about Roaring 20's, or I'm reading about the Roaring 20's, or I know that, after everybody gets vaccinated or whatever, that the economy is about to be white hot again.
Yep.
I want to participate in that economy in some shape or fashion.
Sure.
What do I do today to figure out how I can participate on September 26th, 2021?
Got it. the number one thing that you should do is don't worry about how you're going to turn it into a business. You should find something that you just really fucking love.
Yep.
Like something that you would do every day for, like if you want like something you would do every day for free because you don't need money. Find that and then find out anything that people value around there. And then if you can do that and you can demonstrate that between some mix of my passion, my talent, and how much time I put into this, I'm creating some amount of value in this. And then just document that. But fuck the business side. Everybody tries to do the business side first, and that's why you lose. Because if you don't love it, you don't have enough gas in the tank to get to the business plan. I fucking promise you. Seen it 1,000 times. But when you find something that you are passionate about, you're gonna keep going with it. Like this show, whether it becomes monetary or not, you're gonna keep going because you love doing it, right? That's the number one priority. Find shit that you love to do. Make yourself an expert at it. Shout out to my man Tom Klink. Become the expert on the shit that you care most about. And I promise you, if you do that for 13 days in a row, to quote my friend Taven Riley, the rest will take care of itself. Like the shit that you get paid for, I don't think pretty much maybe anybody outside of like me, Siobhan, and like your mom would ever think that that was a job. Nobody would ever think, hey, you know what I'm going to do to pay the bills? I'm going to be the guy that when various people or rappers or athletes, whoever decide they, or reality TV stars decide they want to create a canned beverage, they're going to call me to do it. People will be like, Ben, how many glasses of wine have you had today? But that's it. And like, you can tell when you talk about it, you're super passionate about that shit. You get super nerdy about wine and flavorings and all that kind of stuff. And you've spent at this point fucking over a decade becoming the expert on it. So now guess what? When people are like, oh, that is a massive revenue extension for us, like you're the guy, right? But if you try to write a business plan on what I was going to charge people to walk them through flavorings and co-packers and this, that, and the other thing, there's no way you could have started that because it's not a thing, right? So that's what I would tell people. Ironically, the best way to start a business, fuck thinking about the business. Just look at shit that you really love and that you can do every day.
Yep. I love it. I love it. The only thing I would add to that is the only way I've been able to put jet fuel, and I wasn't asking that for myself, but the only thing I've been able to, the biggest unlock I've been able in my entire career to put jet fuel on everything that I've done is I've blocked out, or I don't care about what anybody else says. I do not care one iota about what anybody else says about me. Not once. And it's amazing to me the amount of anxiety that goes away, hand wringing that goes away, worrying that goes away. Oh, I have to respond to that troll. I have to respond to this. I have to respond to that. No, just here's what I'm into. I love what I do. If you want to get part of it and be part of the conversation, cool. But it's the same advice I give to my kids is surround yourself with people that make you feel better about yourself. There you go. That's exactly what I am.
100%.
Exactly what I am. Like literally, I didn't even know that was a thing.
You are the definition of unfuckwithable.
Yeah, totally. I surround myself with people like you and people and now I'm lucky enough to have clients like that I make them feel good about themselves and they make feel good about myself. And the other people that don't play in that sandbox, they're out of my life because life's too short. And but an amazing thing happens is when you attract people like that into what you're talking about, that's when the jet fuel happens. And that's when you see exponential growth. I mean, literally exponential growth. So that is my 120, that is my 120 calling.
Perfect timing. Let's fucking go, baby.
I'm off to go pour more jet fuel. So I appreciate everybody watching. I have to call him back. And hang on, I got to close everything. We appreciate you. That's how we're going to end episode 50. On to the next deal.
That's how we should end. That's how we should end every episode.
There you go. Peace out.
See ya.
See you, man. Talk to you.